Yo, what's going on, Legend? Thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope to give you a return on it. Let's get it.
Let's talk about it because this is like what we're doing. Like as soon as logging season's done in February, that's what we're starting to work on.
So you'll have to lean forward.
But you should start the podcast. Then I'm gonna introduce this after they introduce themselves, and we'll talk about it.
What is up, y'all? Welcome to the Hunt Vision Podcast, episode 3, I think. Today we are talking waterfowl with some Missouri boys. I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves. Mitch.
Mitch Worthington from Nottoway County, Maryville, Missouri.
Pete Williams, born and raised Kansas City.
I'm Gunnar Leach, and I'm from Livingston County, Missouri.
Wow. So, Mitch, how did you get started waterfowl hunting?
The first waterfowl I ever hunted was with Jake Lewis, and that was like the first year of college. Whenever he figured out I lived in Maryville, so I could get like all the permission
So you're his guy.
to hunt the grounds. So we showed up and we shot like a 6 or 7 man limit of Canadian geese. I don't know. And then we sailed a couple geese, and I went and picked them up, and one was banded. So I shot like a banded goose from Minnesota on my first ever waterfowl hunt.
You're one of them guys, the lucky guys.
Yeah. I remember seeing that on Instagram, growing up near you, kind of around you, and I was like, oh, I don't remember this guy, duck hunting. I grew up duck hunting, but I always saw that guy as a deer hunter. Next thing I know, he's got a banded goose, and I never even seen a banded anything, and been hunting, since I was 6.
That's kind of how I was. I was a duck club kid through and through. I mean, from as little as I remember, I was running around, and like my dad was a big field goose hunter and stuff like that, and my grandpa was in the duck club, and I'm telling you, as young as I remember, he was blowing duck calls, and I might not have been very good at it, but I was still blowing on them and annoying my mom and doing the whole nine. And heck, like for entertainment, my dad gave us old goose decoys. Me and my cousin Drake, we lived side by side, and we used to set them out in the yard and hunt. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking with you. I'm telling you, there's a little puddle. There's a terrace that would hold water, and we'd be decoyed up out there. And I'm telling you, we'd walk through, like at the duck club where it'd flood and decoys get out. We'd pick up all that junk, and we'd drag it home, and we'd set it out until one day they actually did land, and nobody actually believed us, that we had 40-some geese sitting there wearing our layout blinds going. This was before phones. This was before anything. Yeah. We had Red Riders, what we had.
Exactly. So like how Gunnar, Pete, and I all met. I met Pete and Gunnar through college at Northwest Missouri State University, and I took Pete out on a goose hunt down out of Kinman's, and we shot some bands.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We got videos of it on my YouTube channel, and then we took Gunnar out a couple times, and he worked the birds differently than we really worked them over the ice hole. So then we shot some bands with Gunnar. Now we're all hunting together, and then Ryan was a friend that I met through Midwest Whitetail, basically. And he came out and shot a band off the country club golf pond, and it was just kind of, now we hunt together every year.
I think it's funny you're talking about all these bands. I think you won most of the drawings.
It was pretty.
I think it was pretty.
We're flying to Canada tomorrow, and they don't know if I'll get through security with my lanyard. So.
He won the one.
He won the one
that he just said I shot.
One time.
Like, he killed it, but I wear.
The guy drove through Colorado, but it's on my lanyard.
He one time filmed the hunt, got in the band drawing, and somehow killed the goose, I guess. But he had the camera.
Yep. Camera and the permission gets you in the drawing.
It always does.
Anyway,
I'm going to check audio quick.
I want to talk about designing the duck lake.
Okay.
All right. So bands. How important do we think bands are? How much?
I'll start this off. I don't think bands make you a hunter at all.
I'd agree with that.
I think, and let's be honest about it, in our area, at least, duck bands are rare. Now, goose bands are pretty common. You could run some numbers up. I don't know. I keep a chart and stuff like that. pretty avid duck hunter. I've seen one band in 5 years on a duck.
Ooh.
I've probably seen 40-some Canadian goose bands. I mean,
Do you know what
So
the
you're-
ratio is on that, or just from
I'm
personal?
just telling you, just from what I'm seeing, pretty much every golf course and park and everything alone is going to ban the local Canadian geese.
Right.
To where, I mean, our ducks are 90% migrated. Nothing stays local. I mean, you can go to your local golf course, about any town, and see geese all year round. Summer,
Almost
all that.
always banded too.
Most of the time. So, no, I don't think bands make you a hunter. I think they're a very unique thing to the sport. It's almost like a trophy.
Right.
What the coolest thing is the story behind them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Oh, I killed a 10-year-old band out of Minnesota.
Right.
That thing's made it down 10 times
Right.
and survived.
So then,
And he
the
came
guy-
to my
Yeah,
spread
the guy can
and
talk
died.
about how he hunted the duck. You know what I mean? It kind of changes what the band's worth compared to being like, hey, I live 10 minutes away from where this fucking goose
Yeah.
was banded.
He was
last
6
year.
months
I was-
old.
yeah,
Has
You
been.
know, or
I
whatever.
banded my sister and the Girl Scouts banded him last week. And I
Exactly.
break
So,
up back.
the migrator Missouri, in my opinion, the migrator Missouri duck band is like one to put on your lanyard, and then you can have a conversation about it.
Be
Right.
proud of it.
I'm not saying. I mean, I'm one of any. It's a super exciting feeling. You see, somebody brings a band back. I love it every minute of it. I guarantee if a group comes in, one drops the leg, and I see it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm
You're
going.
shooting. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is I don't think it makes you any better hunter than the next guy.
Do you, I guess, try to collect them?
I mean, I think anybody would. I think it's kind of a pastime to the sport. We're gonna put it on our lanyard and we're gonna show it out or whatever it is that you like to do, mount it, however. It's I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been part of a lot of drawings. It's kind of how lucky you are.
Right.
We can talk to Mitch
you
over here. He's a lucky guy.
Mitch wins every draw.
I think I went 5 years of a lot of bands and never drew one. And it
Do you do a drawing no matter what?
no.
The drawings only happen when it's the goose hunts like we were on. Where
Well, it's a
"Boys,
big
you're
one.
You're six guys plus.
Yep, it's a
You're
big
shooting
one.
the volleys. You're
Nobody
following
knows.
one less than your limit. And you're saying, okay, well, we can go ahead and leave quote unquote limit and hunt it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or we can shoot one more. Maybe it's a small flock, call it whatever. But like, so you're in a drawing with 6 guys.
And it can go up from there even.
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway,
Nope,
it
it's
was
hard to
like
tell.
6 to like 9 guys, but like 3 out of the 4 drawings I won. So then now you're looking at like the X amount of bands in my lanyard and much like I've really only done it 4 years.
Really, he just got his first shotgun today.
Well, like last,
At Shields bought a A400.
Today.
well, like last
Every
year,
other time his guns like,
we shot a band with 9 guys and gave it to the guy who
Deal.
scouted it, and it was basically his field.
Which is what you should have done
So-
when you have to Kylan, who Kylan should be here with us tonight.
And that's I think that's a basic concept too. And that's more of, I wouldn't have been here without you. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing to do it.
So isn't there always a case of this is their spot? This should be their band? Or, I mean, what are the... Is it
absolutely.
always a drawing?
So like what Pete and I adopted in Montana was the guy that found the scout, found the birds, found the hunt, gets the band.
Put the
So
group together?
Right.
Like,
it doesn't matter. I think it was like far right side guy had the scout, had the permission, had the,
They flipped a quarter for it and it was his birthday.
So then Pete and I gave the band to the guy who got the scout.
But
I-
that's
they've
kinda-
never seen them. They shot like 4,000 birds out there and they never seen a band. We were on the way out there and I said, you know what? We shoot a band. Those guys deserve it, man. They lived
Right.
here. They grinded this. They invited us. And we were just out there bullshitting one day. We went out early afternoon, way before the duck flight. And like a little group came in. These 2 drakes crisscrossed, man. We dropped them both. He's sitting there 10 yards just kicking that leg. These guys are like
man.
just jaw dropped, never seen one. We're like, we told you. We
Only-
told you to get one. And they're like, how are we going to do this? And we said, that's the best part. Is we already decided.
Yeah,
It's
you get it
between
no
you
matter
two.
what. So
And then
like,
I said, like we had other
50-50.
guys in the group, they hadn't showed up. Like we just went out and set the sprint. We had nothing better to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just us 4 guys chilling, and we'd already made up our minds. So we hadn't even told them.
So for those 2, did you bring the boxing gloves out?
They flipped
No,
a
they just
quarter.
took a flip to quarter.
Oh,
They flipped
So
a
does
quarter,
one
but
egg.
The guy that won it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Nice.
On his birthday, never seen a mallard band before, and we shot it. And I mean, still one of our best friends to this day. Text us like almost weekly. Like they're great guys. And
I think
that's when like the big changing point of it being like the trophy gotta have it, like just to the camaraderie that it brings to the group. You know, like hey, we shot that band. That makes it that much more memorable.
Right. I kind of go both ways on it because I think people that like full lanyards, like just collect them to collect them. It's like, I don't know, our band's that important. But then like that example of a guy getting his first mallard band, like it's super cool for him to see that. So yeah, I go both ways on it.
I think when you hunt with like same group of guys, say we all hunted the whole year and you had a hunt, and we killed a 10-man. We killed an 8-man with you. We killed a 7-man. Well, then we went with him. We killed a 5-man. We killed a band. Okay. We could go that way. It's all luck of the draw. If you hunt with the same guys a lot, I think the drawing comes into the point of we've all put on good hunts.
Right.
And it's just luck that we killed, a band on that hunt. It's one of the deals. It's all going to be personal preference. It's going to be with you and whoever you're hunting with.
Right.
How you want to do it.
Have you heard any other ways besides drawing and who put the hunt together?
I mean,
the dog.
Fight me
I've heard
for
the
it.
dog.
Boxing gloves.
No, I think like the dog's a really cool one because
As Pete, listen though, all the listeners to this podcast need to preface what Pete says here because he owns a world class black
Dog,
lab
whatever,
retriever. I mean, I've seen a couple dogs do what Stone does, but preface what you hear based off the pedigree of the dog.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But
Pretty
I
good
also, I mean, like your singles and stuff. If you killed him, you killed him.
Right.
I'm not going to fight you for it.
Right.
You got him.
Then there's no better feeling than that too. That you know that like hey,
There's nobody.
I killed that doctor. Like,
I'm telling you, 90% of the ones I had are a pair or something. Me and a buddy, and I shot the one on the left. He shot the one on the left. To the right. That's how it went. You know what I mean? Heck, one of my best band stories ever is one of my buddies didn't wake up to hunt, and we shot 11. Okay. So we need 12 to end it. We're standing in his front yard and we're taking the pile picture on top of his Jeep. So we're taking the picture and he comes rolling out in his underwear. He's like, was it good? We're, yeah. About that time we hear just a cluck. Someone's like, get your gun. I was like, where's it even at? And this low 3-pack flies over his house. So they're like, shoot one. I'm like, no way. Well, just try. And I crunch this goose. And he lands and he's double banded. Right out of his front yard.
Double banded.
Yeah, it was a double banded riveted. Canada. It's just like,
true story.
that didn't take any skill. You know what I mean? That didn't take any skill. It was just, it's all luck. And I mean, like a lot of the guys I hunt with all the time, we're all pretty even on the band deal. I mean, seems like that's kind of how the world works. You get one, I get one every once in a while, whatever, however it goes.
You don't strive for a full lanyard, but it's not like you're gonna.
I think if you
turn down
put
the
enough time
opportunity,
in, you'll get it.
But we're not in the high band area. It's like the guys, like I said, that'll hunt a golf course. You know, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot an early season limit of 15 bands or whatever. It's
Yeah,
like a 5, you're going to get iced out pretty quick. But
it's all service.
what does that gain in the end? Because you look at like a guy like Gunnar or Mitch or me, like we could tell a story for each one of those. And then we're like, these were 4 of the same hunt, 4 of the same hunt. They're all banded in the same place. And I'm like, we got Manitoba, we got everything.
You've seen them everywhere, It's just,
we've seen them off the chain. Like we shot one spec from 2001. It was a 20-year-old bird out of the Chain Islands of Alaska.
Yeah.
It was insane.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
and
snow
it
goose
wasn't even
bands
one.
generally, like in general, if you shoot a snow goose band in spring, if you're hunting down like Northwest Missouri, you're like talking to none of it
Yeah, that's
Canada birds. So what's the mileage there? I think I looked it up. It's like 1,800 miles.
it's
Every
1,800
year.
miles all the way up on like the Arctic Circle.
And some of those birds,
it's
I mean, like a
crazy.
couple of snow goose bands I have are like 4 or 5 years old. So you're
Wow.
talking almost going 2,000 miles as a 4 or 5-year-old.
And that's covering just to Missouri, and they go all the way to Texas, Louisiana.
Exactly. You almost look at like Snow Goose hunting. He's like, who owns an outfit in Arkansas I can go with, right? But we're talking Northwest Missouri.
And I wouldn't put it too far past Arkansas. I mean, we have a really good migration through Missouri.
It doesn't really go much past the boot heel, but you look where
No.
the boot heel is. Damn near Mississippi.
Missouri has tenfold the migration that Illinois gets. I'll say that.
You just
I'm
look at a
wrong.
map of the United States, the rivers, and you'll say Missouri.
Right.
Just like if you're going to settle somewhere, St. Louis, before
Yep.
interstates are built and military. Whatever.
Growing up in Illinois, you don't see not even near the same amount of ducks as Missouri gets.
Yeah, and growing up a passionate Missouri waterfowler, and I moved to Illinois to work a job that's in the river bottoms,
Was it
Illinois.
depressing?
Everybody's like growing up, like,
You're trying to make duck hunters out of guys out of Illinois, and I'm saying these guys,
They
you go out to a creek and you shoot a limit of greenhead,
Yeah,
dude. It's
no,
different than what you do
and that's
up
what
here.
I'm looking
you don't
at. Like,
understand.
you're looking at the Missouri bottoms through college, and you learn all that, learn how to hunt it.
right.
And I go out to Illinois, and I'm like, I have all this access and all this great water frontage and everything.
Doesn't matter, there's no
doesn't
ducks.
matter. There's no ducks. But when you fly over that place, like flying home with a buddy before, you get up, and Missouri is 8 miles as a crow flies. It's like Mississippi River and that flyway
Right.
loaded up with ducks.
Yep.
I have really good buddies that hunt not 45 minutes from me, and they'll roost 45,000 mallards.
Yep.
But they don't fly over the hill anymore, and they don't come down to the Illinois bottoms.
No.
But there's so many guys down there that just beat the dead bush of hunting this giant boat blind, and that was the big thing that I noticed driving down there for the
Big
first
water
time.
hunt.
Big water hunting. You're hunting 1,000 decoys. You're hunting 400 yards
Battleships.
from the next place, and you've got this monstrosity that you could park a 40-foot fucking boat in.
Yep.
Like, my God, no wonder why anything won't fly through there, because you guys are pass shooting them, splitting them at 200.
Yeah.
And it was sad to watch, but I have the most fun just shooting a wood duck out of the ditch anymore and watching my dog.
I think over the years of growing up and hunting southern Illinois, the areas we hunted, at least, like, they progressively got worse and worse. But I think my theory on it is your ducks are going to migrate the same areas every year. If they have a year and there's no food, no place to rest, etc. for in a certain area, they're just going to check that place off their list for the next year's migration. So like it's kind of like a ladder. Like one year, if you don't have enough food or anything for them to stay or stop for a little bit, then they're going to check that off their list, and then the next year it comes, they won't even stop or hit that spot, or they'll fly 30 miles west instead.
When habitat loss happens, they have to move and adapt, feed, overcome.
I think that's what happened in our area, over the years, because there was a noticeable amount decline in duck numbers, in the 5 to 7 years that I was hunting in that area.
Yeah, and like why you also now see ducks staying way up north, but there's also so much more corn planted, not necessarily in the corn belt anymore. Not seeing it like necessarily down I-70, I-80.
Right.
It's stretched north, and it's stretched way northwest, like out into Montana.
Yeah.
And even past that. And so you're shooting ducks up there in like almost whitewater rapids type places because they have open water and then they have cornfields.
Right.
So ducks can stay up there. They have the nutrients that they need to be. You're not seeing them down here. And then you also drive up and down the river bottoms of Illinois. Every field is turned black.
Right.
Whereas Missouri, it almost seems like no till. I mean, they got a lot of hills, and so the ducks can go feed in the hills. Maybe that corn's holding. I don't have that much time to spend over there anymore, but that's what I see the big difference is their food source of being able to feed in the bottoms is gone.
Right.
And that is directly where they're going to obviously roost, because that's where all the water is.
And then like your older birds are going to lead the migration, so they're going to teach the younger birds where to go. If your older birds have been burnt on a place and can't find food or whatever, those younger birds are going to follow those older birds, and then that's programmed into the younger birds' minds.
Yeah, and then like some places are, well, what do we need to do to keep birds anymore? And trying to keep up with the pace of just plant more corn. That's what they think. Plant more corn, flood more water.
But
Right.
that's not
Is
the
that
answer.
what's gonna be?
The
Then
actual
it's gonna-
answer is hunter pressure. It's like hunting a mature buck. It's the same thing.
Absolutely. You can't just sit there and pound the same hole day in, day out.
No,
day
like
in,
if
day
if
out.
we want to go in there and shoot an 8-man or 10-man, depending on how many guys are in your club, I would say you can hunt it once a week.
Right.
And
Well,
that's kind of how I am with hunting flooded corn. It's like once a week you take 8 guys.
Don't have to hunt after 1 o'clock.
like last
Okay.
year
Let them roost.
when we hunted that 9-man last year. I think it was like 3 days total of scouting for you guys,
Yep.
and 1 afternoon of hunting,
Yep.
And,
and then it didn't get touched again.
leave it alone.
Right.
I will mention this. And I guarantee you this: any waterfowl, no matter the migration, it's all weather. They're not going to go plumb as far south as they have to. If it stays mild and they can stop in Missouri, they can stop wherever. That's where they're going to sit, and they're going to turn around and go back when it's over.
Yeah.
They're not going to go any further than they need to. It's just like us. You're not gonna drive 2 hours to go to the grocery store.
Unless I have to.
If it's open right here, we're gonna stay right here and we're gonna keep going. And they'll do that as long as the pressure's not hurting them too bad. And that's the thing you can appreciate about conservation. Like I say, any state probably is appreciative of this. The refuges are gonna keep ducks all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
I'm talking. You could go by mid-February when it's as cold as it is. There might be more ducks there than there was during the whole season because they're not going to go any further than they have to. If they stop in Missouri, they're not going to go any further. If it gets mild, they'll turn about, and especially geese. You'll notice, of our season, that end of the season, I can guarantee you the best goose hunt you'll have of the whole year,
January.
or that Feb first, when they back migrate.
Yep.
When
that's
it
what
gets
I'm saying.
that first warm hit,
Yep.
that is the
yeah.
best goose hunt. You're getting different birds because they migrate back in a different route.
Yep.
They're lost.
Yep.
It always
You can
seems
be
like
on any farm pond anywhere. It gets wild.
Right.
And that's my favorite time to hunt them. Let's be honest about it. You can hunt a cattle pasture that has never had a goose in it before, and you got decoys and everything, and you're killing them.
But that's only based off of user experience in a certain area. That's the difference about Missouri as a state in general.
Well, I think, and
Also, you
let's
know
be honest about it.
waterfowl.
Missouri is, you're midpoint.
Yeah,
We are midpoint.
And
Of
that's
all
kinda-
flyways, we are midpoint.
that's kind of what I wanted to have you guys on, because like growing up in Illinois, my experience with waterfowl, and how to hunt them, and just weather and flight and all that just was totally different than the way you guys think and how you hunt.
I'm telling you, I grew up about 15 minutes from Sumner, Missouri, which was the old goose capital of the world.
Yeah,
Possibly the next duck capital of the world, let's be honest about it. And I'm telling you, it's a culture down there. It's a culture in my whole area.
I think it's kind of like Iowa with deer hunting. Like if enough people get together and just create a little heaven basically,
Yep.
then it just
There's
trickles down.
There's a lot of money spent in that area on duck habitat, and keeping ducks around and hunting ducks.
It's paid off.
It's paid off. It's definitely paid off.
So
We're kind of in a Bermuda Triangle there. As far as you talk about the Corn Belt, we are the flooded Corn Belt. We are pulling a lot of ducks at a lot of times. Most of the season, we will hold a lot of ducks right there. And sure, weather matters,
right.
but in reality, there are ducks around all the time. It's not we're hoping for a north wind. The north wind is the best day to go when we get some new ducks. Stuff will get stale. They will. They've been around a while. They've seen your spread. They'll do all that.
If you've got the food and everything, are you still killing ducks if they are stale?
I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
You can scratch a few ducks and stuff. I think modern times hunting is 5 to 10 years ago, the flooded corn was the ticket.
Right.
I think our new ticket is we're kind of imitating the end of the migration with Arkansas with the flooded timber holes.
Right.
I think it's almost like Mitch has said, hunting a big deer. I think ducks feel safe, secluded.
Yeah.
So when you got a big timber hole, I think that's your day in, day out. Now, I'm not saying you won't have a bigger day in a flooded cornfield where they've been there and there's thousands feeding there, and you go in there and just bust them.
But you're shooting feed birds versus migrators.
Exactly. That's a
There's
total different game.
nothing like migrating bowers.
Nothing.
No. And it's just like we were blessed. I mean, the night before opening day, I texted you, said it's happening. And I'm not going to lie to you, I predicted it a week before. But in reality, it wasn't no joke. I mean, there were ducks everywhere. I was in Kansas City working, seeing ducks fly through the city.
Yeah, that's what your call said. He said there's ducks that shouldn't be down here where they are, and the flight line that they're on doesn't make any sense, so you guys should bang them up.
Yeah.
And, I went to the duck club that Saturday morning, and we flushed thousands, go into the blind and stuff like that.
Thousands.
Do I think that they'll go any further? Not till there's another front.
Right.
I think we'll hold all them birds until a huge cold front happens. I mean, today was the coldest day of the year so far, and
But
it
it's
didn't
going to warm
freeze.
back up to the 40s, and it's going to be 70.
You see what I mean? So you'll hunt these same ducks for a long time, and then, they will get stale, and you'll hope for another flight.
So what is a surefire front that will push? Just are you looking
have to
at
be
just
a hard
temperature?
freeze.
A hard
Temperature
freeze
and
and a
wind?
hard north wind.
And we're lacking that because going into this freeze, the water temp was like over 6. It was 66.
Right.
I
So
think
you
I
get
talked
a-
to a guy
got
that
down
was
to, like,
fishing
upper
the day
50s.
before.
Say you get a cold push of weather, obviously you're gonna have some kind of north wind with it, but nothing freezes whatsoever. Is that enough?
We'll hold them because of how much flooded corn's around. That's the thing. Is
Okay.
these
See,
ducks
the
just
problem
got
with
here a
flooded
week
corn
ago.
is you're only shin deep.
Yeah, but you're a week in.
They
They
will
haven't even
freeze.
touched
So-
the dry field.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How much dry field in Missouri do you see?
Good point. Everyone,
That's a modern time thing. Is you can talk to people our dad's age, and they beat them up in the dry fields.
This is
Day
the
in,
best
day
part.
out.
This is the best part about where we're about to go. Is we're going to Canada, where we'll only hunt dry
They'll only
fields.
hunt dry
That's
fields.
If anybody,
Where does it
if
change
anybody
between-
brought waders, you might as well throw them in the trash because if we're about to go shoot. Your personal limit of hours times as many human beings go on the hunt
I remember
at 20 yards in a dry field.
Yeah, but where's that change between the border and
The Dakotas.
Northwest Missouri?
The
Like
Dakota.
where? Because or is it because the Missouri guys and Arkansas guys are going up there and beating them up in these sloughs? Like, are we educating them too soon?
do you think
You see the TikToks joking about guys going up there and they're like, "Oh, we can tow an out-of-stater because they're the ones hunting the water. They won't leave them alone in the roost." You're
do you
like, are you
think
calling it out that
do
early?
you think ducks are roosting on sloughs, old river sloughs anymore?
Absolutely. But if they can't, but how many are left?
If it's a campground,
How many are
sleeve,
left?
yeah.
Because didn't
If
you
it's on a
guys
refuge,
years ago? How many years ago did you guys ban robos? Like when you guys stopped using robos, do you guys notice a difference? Because you said every other hole that they fly over, they're going to see that
so
flash. It's,
my new thought process. We did that for a few years, and I'm not gonna lie to you. On a sunny day, I want them out. I do. Just it's a preference. It goes anyway.
Really?
My new thing is decoy spreads. We're gonna talk about them. How many U's do they see? How many J hooks do they see? How many gaps in the decoys do they see all the way down?
That's why I
The
never
guys
put
that
it
That's the
down. I filled
biggest-
the hole. I filled the
35 a
hole.
day?
I filled the hole.
35 a day?
Thin with the wind direction, but I filled the hole. You can ask Ryan. We just went on a public land duck hunt. I filled the entire hole
But thick.
with a couple.
Just
thin right
straggler
behind the kill
here,
hole.
straggler there. It's still plenty open enough for a duck can fit
People
in a
don't
5-gallon
understand
bucket
it.
if he wants to.
Yes.
From as high as he wants,
I
he'll sit in
agree.
that 5-gallon bucket.
I agree.
So if I can just thin it out to get that U out of it, and that's I think people don't think that deep into it. Oh, the wind's blowing this way. Boom, C hook
Yeah.
right here. Come right here. No,
especially
and
with
especially with
and you can't feel.
especially when you talk about geese. I'll get stupid with a goose spread. I'll go 125 yards out in decoys.
So
I'll
why
get dumb as
with family groups.
I'll get as dumb as you want to get because geese will react to the call.
100%.
100%.
so
I don't
what's your
care if they
go-to?
bow up out there on that furthest decoy. You get on them just a little bit, they'll carry. Most of the time. Now, I've had them land in the middle of the field. That's a horrible day. Can't stop them. Once it starts, it's over.
a train. It's the same thing with ducks.
Pick up.
First duck, group duck flies over, pick up.
But, I feel like decoy spreads, they see U's all the way up. They see the double mojo sitting in the gap. They see all that every day,
Be different.
all the way
So
down.
what are you doing?
You gotta be different.
Is it the same every time? Or
No, I mean I do. I joke. I just set a spread the other day. Obviously, kind of called it a figure 8 type of deal, to where we got 2 small gaps here, but there are decoys in the middle, like a
Yeah.
family group, like your new arrivals. They just slid in.
Sure.
Everything else pretty packed up, but we got 2 thin spots. If you want to do it with the wind, do it. If you want to go opposite with the wind, we can all act like they do it with the wind every time.
There's no way.
No.
You kill enough birds, they don't always do it.
Right.
They
You're sitting
will get
there
done. They will do what they want to. They can do whatever they want to, and that's where we lack. Was we learn these things. We're like, oh, the wind's blowing this way, it's guaranteed. Now,
Don't say Jay.
I mean, we had a 27-mile-an-hour wind yesterday.
Ducks are landing the other way.
We smacked them, and 80% of them came with the wind into the decoys and skied right into the hole.
There's a lot of hunts where you're seeing ducks come from the left and the right, and you almost never think of are they landing with the wind? Why are they coming from the left and the right?
And in reality, you work big bunches and stuff, they will eventually come with the wind, especially like geese. I love to hunt geese with the wind, but I wouldn't be scared to put decoys out a distance. I wouldn't be scared to
80 yards.
stretch it out.
We're talking 80, 100 yards away from the blind.
Yeah, don't.
But
stack
gap
them in the
stuff,
blind.
people don't gap anything anymore, you know?
It's a
And
ball.
if you look at a natural, especially you talk about them river sloughs, in natural river slough, if ducks are hitting them, they're up on the edge a lot, in pairs and 5-packs, and they're, you know, and most of the time, where I feel people go wrong on the big sloughs and the big wide water, you're hunting that middle. The only thing that's going to sit in that middle are divers.
100%, because the water's so deep. Where's the food's at? You know what I mean? The mallards
But-
have already fed out, and they're coming.
They're gonna be weaving in and out of that brush, and they're gonna edge that circle, you know. So when you're sitting out in the middle, and I mean I've done it hundreds of times, but it's not the most natural scenario. We're painting a picture here. We're trying to paint the most realistic picture all the time. It's hard to do. It is. It's a hard picture to paint, but if you can paint it enough times, you'll start learning from it. You're gonna do it wrong. That's the key to this whole game.
Do it wrong.
But you gotta realize when you did it wrong. When they're finishing way outside the decoy, what do? And you move them 10,
Change it up now.
and next thing you know, they're right in your lap.
Right.
You remember that, and
That's
you
where
take
I
that
think
to the
Beat-
next
That's
time.
where I think Beat has the most to talk, because he came up from Kansas City to Maryville during college, and then
learning the public hunt. But like my first big public hunt was when you came over to my house and we were sitting there. We're like, yeah, we know Grant, but like let's figure out if we want to do this. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. Like, let's go, let's do this. And we get out there, and that's always a big thing. You learn who's been there and who have the guys that look at you and be like, how are we doing this? Like, how are we going to set this spread? How are we going to, like, what are you feeling? And, like, that's a big way you can judge a guy. Like, if you've never been on a hunt, you're like, we throwing the J hook? Like, what are we doing? I'm the type of guy that in flooded corn, I want to run my decoys into the corn. I don't want it to
That's
stop.
natural.
Like, if you have 16 rows of corn, you have 16 rows of no corn. Like where they picked it, you know, run your decoys up into that corn. Those ducks fly over. You look, if you've ever been above it, you've flown a drone, been a little plane, whatever, you can look down there. You'll see them ducks in between the corners, and that's
Right.
so huge to have. And there's days like where you said you'll only run mojos in a sunny day. If it gets sunny, partly sunny, I'll pull those mojos. I'll put them behind me. I don't care if I have 5 decoys in the corn with me. I'll put the mojos directly behind me to get that little bit of flicker. Because when those ducks will circle, they'll see a flicker, but that corn stops it, and it gives it almost another intermediate flash, and then it shows that feeding pattern in the corn. And that's just something that, you know, you got the guys that'll hammer in there and throw their 3-4 dozen out, whatever it is, just right in the middle of the hole. You know, you have your donut, you have
Just right
a
out
J, a
front.
C. They see that stuff, and like, be different is the
Well,
big thing.
well,
Learn,
and like you
be
said, if
natural.
you're watching a
And
feed,
be natural. So go
Be
scout.
real.
if you're watching a feed, there's going to be ducks in the corn because that's why they're there.
Yeah, they're in the corn feeding.
Why
So
would the ducks sit in the fucking mud pack?
when
Freaking
you're
mud pack.
when you're
Why?
hunting them or scouting them, watch what they're wanting to do. You know, they want to be where the food is. How many times
Right.
are you hunting a flooded corn? You're trying to get a duck out there in the open water, and he's trying to lighten the corn to your left. And you're trying to tell some guy to shoot it.
Right.
But what does that teach you? That they want to be in that corn. So if the wind's with the corn, I mean, I've had some really cool hunts where you're on a private spot and you go hunt strictly in corn with just a couple mojos and like a dozen deep. You don't need anything. You throw a call in there, they'll hover. They will hover right on top of corn and move 5 feet either direction before they'll just drop from tassel high straight in. And that's one thing you can like teach a duck. And that's where you can move away from those big blinds. You don't need that, monstrosity. You can go out there and shoot your 4 ducks pretty quick. Because I'd say by Thanksgiving in Missouri, you shoot your 4, you don't need to be out there any longer.
Right.
You're not gonna.
Like,
I
it's
mean,
a
you
bonus.
could kill your off ducks, but
What's the point of sitting? Like, I don't want to say what's the point. Like, you're having fun, you're enjoying the outdoors.
most of your off ducks are gonna come that first 30 minutes. You're
Absolutely.
gonna shoot that bunch of teal. You're gonna shoot them 2 woodies or whatever right there
Yeah.
off the bat, and then the rest of it's gonna be mallard.
That's why you shoot
Yeah.
it too early and you sit
How late
back
are
and
you
wait.
seeing woodies?
I mean, today I see them till about 10 o'clock.
I'm saying in the year.
Oh, in the year, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We
Thanksgiving's
shoot
the
them in the
big changing
fields,
point.
but I mean that's like
In the fields, but
That's
see where
rare.
are they staying? They're gonna stay with the mallard.
yeah, you're talking.
They're staying in them big
bubbles.
open water, wherever the hole's open. I'm not saying they don't stick it out just as much as a mallard would, but
It's not your first light duck anymore
No.
then.
it's not your
Because when you bust
screaming
them,
down the leg type of deal.
yeah, it's your first light. Here they come, you can hear them screaming, whistling.
Right.
Get ready, just treetop them. It'll be all right. But that's what I grew up shooting was just wood duck. I mean, it was like patch shooting. It was almost like a dove hunt.
Yeah.
As soon as that first guy shot in the valley there, here they come. Everything's jumping out of a tree. But
Ooh.
I mean, what was your first duck hunt?
My first duck hunt was on a main lake point. We walked through a cornfield to access to the point, and I shot a widgeon hen for my first duck, and that was the only duck we shot.
Did you see duck?
No,
Did you see other hunters?
no.
Oh, well,
What
that's
state?
promising.
Illinois, Southern Illinois, big lake by us.
What was your first duck?
My first duck would have been my first goose in the banded goose hunt.
Well, what was your first duck?
My first duck would have probably almost been like South Dakota if I had. Brookings, South Dakota, we were hunting like private flooded corn.
Mallard.
And mallards coming into sloughs like
Big
we didn't-
corn-fed mallard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we
Orange
didn't come
flag.
in.
Like, it's easy.
Yeah, we didn't come in until like 9:30. We set up our decoys at 9 a.m. We got the pit line at 9. I mean,
That sounds like South Dakota. I mean, that's like their pheasant hunts. Don't have to be there till 10.
yeah. We shot them birds and then I went to Canada that year because I just played baseball with those guys. And
You're
What was
like,
your
wow,
first
this-
duck, Peter?
I think there's a picture on my Instagram.
A bluebill.
No,
Was it bluebill?
no, I was
Did you hunt main lake?
Jersey.
Did you hunt a big lake?
No, I was down at Timberhole
I'll look for
On
the
the-
Instagram picture.
on the club that I'm still a part of to this day, and I'm missing opening weekend for this trip. If I understand, because it's that once in a lifetime Canada trip, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But
And the reason we're all together right now is because we're at the hotel room, headed out for Canada in the morning to go on a crazy waterfowl hunt. What, 4 or 5 days?
it's a few days. I think it's 5 days. 5 days of waterfowl hunting with a few guys, and it should be fun. If there's anything left in Canada, but it sounds like there definitely is.
Yeah, I think they're kind of always in Canada.
They don't leave. But my first duck, I was super young. We're on this timber hole at the club, and I remember we shot some wood ducks. Me and my buddy Tom.
Fully plumed?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Dude, and that's why to this day, Mitch is still after his first wood duck, and I'm burning on him.
I shot a wood duck
Should've
in the
been with us
snow.
this morning.
We just torch them. I mean, they're
Yeah.
7:30.
they're there. We're just in a big open spot. It's beautiful.
I shot a wood duck on Thanksgiving morning one year in the snow. I got them out. That was fully plumed in the snow. Thanksgiving. Why were they there that late?
Yeah, it's worth it. And
So yours an old Woody, huh?
yeah, mine was an old Woody. We shot 2 of them, and Dad was like, "Oh, I don't know about them." And then he's like, "There's some big ducks." And we worked. That was the first time I seen ducks work. It wasn't just that first flight. Here they come screaming through the timber.
Right.
He's like, "These are what working ducks is like." And I remember seeing them come out over the treetop and dump in there. And I stood up and got a shot on that gab wall, and Dad's like, "That's the duck we're gonna mount." No, it's still my favorite duck.
Nice.
Everyone's like, "Who would mount a gadwall?" And I'm like, "That's."
I think gadwall are pretty.
That's my
dude.
first duck.
I think gadwall are pretty. Like if you get a fully plumed, like not messed up drake after you shoot.
Oh, the checkerboard.
I think they're pretty.
And that was it. But after that, I mean, we turned it into got a few timber holes and a lot of good food. And it's a place we still hunt, and that's what we love to look forward to. We have a lot of good years down there. But that was my first duck, and that's a place I still hunt. And that's what got me into duck hunting.
I think I was probably about 8. And my dad and my grandpa took me to the duck club, and I was the only youth hunter there. And I think about the second box of shells.
Youth season?
Yep.
So you're the only one.
I'm the only guy. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, and nothing. Over and over and over. I remember looking at Dad going, "I want to go home. I'm done. This is the worst thing I've ever tried to do." At 6 years old. About that time, a big old group of teal landed on the water. And he's like, "Pick one out and kill it." And I killed the one, and we went straight home. It was good enough. That was all I needed.
Hey, water swatting the teal is pretty tough.
Hey, I'm telling you.
There's supper. That's all you needed.
That was all I needed. That was when it all started from there. But yeah, 2 boxes of shells of shooting at a flying. That was about as much as I needed. But no, the one water swat I got, and from then on, I don't think I've missed many opening days.
I just remember, even before I hunted, we were out hunting layout boats in the same farm, and we had Dad and like 5 of his friends, and all the guys in the club basically were out there in their layout boats. We were end to end. And these mallards just wouldn't leave the north end of the farm alone. They were just jumping one after another. It was so cool to sit there in Dad's little layout boat and watch him just, all right, kill them, and I could sit up and just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Here they come. And we were headed out, and I saw a cripple, and I remember chasing that cripple with Dad, watching those guys shoot, and you could see their BBs out landing on the other side of the marsh. And I was like, "Yeah, I think I want to come back here. This is something I want to keep doing."
Yeah.
And after that, I always pestered Dad. I'd be like, "Hey, either we got to get in for draw, or hey, this season opens. Like, are we going? Like, where are we going?" And he would drive me to some conservation area, and we'd try to draw. That was the first time I shot a mallard, was on a draw area. I pestered Dad. I said, "Hey, this season's opening. We gotta go." And he's like, "Well, we'll go down this draw area." I drew Pell 7. I remember all these local old guys just like, "What is this kid doing?" And I just remember seeing that one lone drake. That was the only duck I think we killed that day. Came in,
Treetop.
I got him right there, and
The old public land treetop.
Dad's old black man went out and got him, and that's the mallard that still hangs over my bed. But that gadwall and that mallard are the first, and for a long time, the only 2 ducks I had. Dad said, "I'll get your first duck. I'll get your first mallard."
So with weather, you guys touched on it a little bit. What if you had to draw up a absolutely perfect one day, weather leading up to it and weather after it, and weather on the day? What would you draw up?
Give me that.
Depends what your accessibility of like what you're gonna hunt is. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna hunt corn, it's different than if you're still in that timber.
It's gonna be a lot warmer.
Yeah.
If I have the equipment to do it right, I'm wanting a big push day. Let's be honest, but I want a full moon coming up into it. I'm wanting about 33, 34 with about
After
20,
5 warm days?
with about 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts in the north of the night. You show up the next day and it's, 33 and the wind's still blowing about 12 out of the north. Everybody's going to their duck club and kicking up everything that showed up the night before. I think you're in for a good day if I'm going to hunt a timber hole.
So you're just going in the first morning of that first push just to a good spot,
I mean,
You
I
got
feel like
you don't have to scout.
No, I feel like any push day you can hunt about anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, if you're on a good body of water near the river, I think you're going to kill ducks. Let's look at this is the first year that I've been around that I've seen a push before season has started, and I'd have almost gave a leg to be hunting anywhere that Friday before our opening day. No, I think conditions all come down to it. I think the moon comes down to it. They're almost like a deer. I mean, them ducks will fly all night.
Right.
And in the way that you can know the ducks fly all night is go during the spring on snow geese. Go stand out all night. Go stand out on your deck all night. You'll hear snows all night long. You might see them. They'll fly low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them ducks are doing the same thing. And, when you're in an area where a lot of people are hunting and stuff like that, people are kicking them up on the way in. Everybody's going to hunt that north wind. So everywhere they landed on that reflection of water the night before are getting kicked up. So everything's kind of active. Now, the thing about a flight day is there will be a day of rest. Right. So if they migrated too hard the night before and the next day, you might not see a duck.
Right.
It'll be the slowest day you ever hunted.
But it's
3 days later, when they decided to do it, it might be 40 degrees. Yeah. It's hard to tell.
They're going to get out and explore.
It's hard to tell, but when you catch it, you catch these ducks at an advantage of not that they don't know where they are. They know where they're at, but it's new. They ain't been there a long time. They're more active to work. Especially when you get a hard wind. You ain't gonna get the 14 passes and you might get 2 out of this 40 pack.
Right.
No, when that wind's howling, when they cut them wings, they're gonna do it.
Those days are awesome.
Them are the most active days you're gonna get. And I'm gonna take that nasty day over that bluebird, sunshiny, south wind day. So you might kill a lot of mallards. So you'll know that they're drakes when they come in because the sun's shining right on them.
Yeah.
But them nasty, hard blowing days that you really don't want to be out there are usually your days that
they don't want to be out there either.
No, they want down.
Right.
And it's when you catch a flight day, you'll know you caught a flight day. Let that first bunch land.
So what are you doing if you?
As soon as they land, they'll dip underwater. They'll be drinking. They ain't worried about a thing. No. You land a group of mallards that have been there for a while, they will be on high alert. It's like a deer. A deer walks into the plot and he's circling around, looking around. He's nervous. You know what I mean?
Right.
But a deer, especially in the rut, he don't even know you're there. He didn't even look.
Yeah.
They're just like that.
They get stupider.
Yeah, they're new. They don't know where they're at.
So you're hunting that first day after a big flight day, no matter what, and then you're just
I'll hunt a 3-day span of any north.
Gotcha.
I don't care if it's the night before. It might be 40 degrees, and the next night's going to be 20. I'm going to hunt the day before, I'm going to hunt the day of, and I'm going to hunt the day after. And if I don't catch it on them days, I'm usually at work, and I'll hear about it. It will happen in them 3-day span. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's pretty predictable. If you pay attention.
It's pretty predictable. It's just that some pushes are better than others.
Depends on where you're at.
Right.
I mean, up the river, any river. I don't care if you're on even a major creek. Ducks travel up there. I mean, especially north and south. That's how they navigate all the way up through here. It's waterways. So, I mean, if you're along the river on a flight day on like a north wind, you can't stop. You can't stop them with a truck. You know what I mean? It's one of the things of I'm not going to miss a north wind day over I don't care if you drew Bill 1 and the best public area it is.
There's better places to be.
You know, we hunt a lot of old oxbows, and on them flight days, you show all that big water as high as you can see them. Those ball up.
That's crazy.
All the way down. You know, and it's.
I mean, that's why you go to see them cup up from migration height.
It's working the ducks, knowing that you got them, and that's the big thing I learned when I started hunting geese with him. Like, they was the first big goose hunter I really hung out with. Is that you can turn a goose and be able to call towards a duck, and that was a big thing on the flight day opening day this year. You could actually call it a big bunch of ducks. You might not turn them all. You'll turn a couple. And being able to do that, like being able to know that, like, you took a call and hammered on it, and boom, there's like 3 of 20. Just boom, here they come. And I mean, they're just wingtip touching. You're like, that's something I did as an outdoorsman, as a hunter.
Yeah.
To be able to do that versus just hunting that spot with food, because that's where that duck wants to be. That's the same thing you do with the deer. You're like, hey, he's coming here to feed. I don't need to do anything. I'm not calling. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything special.
Right. So what would you say your perfect weather day is? You had to drop the
sunny. For ducks, it's gonna be sunny. It's gonna be sunny, and it's gonna have a good wind. I don't care if it's a south wind, a west wind.
What do you mean a good wind then? If it doesn't matter direction,
a good speed.
A
duck needs something to center up on. I understand a duck will go against the wind sometimes to come in, but to work a group of ducks, you need that wind.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I mean, it could be a hard south wind, it could be a hard north wind. In a lot of these conservation areas, the birds just fly better.
Sure.
Versus, a 5 mile an hour to 7 mile an hour gust, whatever they want to call it.
I would say we noticed that the other day, and it could have been opening day versus not opening day, but we hunted Saturday and we had a 10, 12 mile an hour wind. And then the next day we had like 3 to 5 miles an hour. And the first day we killed 30 ducks, and the second day we killed 10.
Yeah.
So,
but I would take the day with wind all day over anything else, because opening day, everybody's going to kick everything out of every hole. But to get those ducks up and stirring, like, I think they need to sense the temperature a little bit more. You know, getting up and feeling that, and then seeing that, their food's frozen or it's got sheet ice on it, or any of that. Like, that obviously takes its toll on them somehow, some way.
I would agree to a certain extent, because I don't think, I mean, obviously you want a hard freeze, but I don't think a hard freeze happens as much as, because a duck season's 60 days. You're not going to get too many hard freezes throughout the season.
No.
So you can't depend on those hard freezes. So you gotta be able to hunt just, it's a north wind full moon tonight, so we know tomorrow's going to be good.
Well, I mean, once it gets too cold, it's
right.
But also, with that being said, that's hunting a timber hole versus a corn hole. I mean, they have some natural good timber holes, and what we had in college is flooded corn. So I mean, your best day you're gonna have is just any day with good wind that's gonna get the birds up and flying, and
you're in the area.
You need to look natural, and that's the other thing. I mean, you can look at a report board. You can talk to guys and say, "Hey, did you hunt here yesterday?" And they're like, "I didn't see a duck. I didn't kill anything. Nothing come in." Then you go and hunt the same exact hole. I mean, I've had hunts that somebody hasn't killed a duck in 40 days, and we go in there and throw a spread out and we'll shoot them.
Yeah.
Like, is that because we're natural, and then after like a week of bad weather that those guys stop hunting it?
Sure.
Or what causes that? I don't think it's necessarily. I'd say blue sky and wind. That's all you need.
That's your destination.
And then throwing a mojo in there.
Why do you like blue sky?
Because it allows you to have a mojo to work.
Okay.
Hunting ducks in a cloud, there's an immediate turn off, and it showed it opening day this year.
Is that mainly because you're doing more field hunts? Because you could also have a jerk cord or pull stators or whatever for movement.
No,
in the water.
Not necessarily. It's either way. I mean, I would run my mojos every day of the week in the field, whether it's sunny or cloudy. But over the water, turn them off when it's cloudy. Just pull them in. Run your splashers, run your battleships, run your small motion, run a flicker.
The one thing with you is the flock flicker.
I stopped running because they don't work. They break. I mean, they physically break. They can't hold up.
No, but they were a hell of an idea.
They were. And
You know what I mean?
How good
I'm
they
sure
are.
it'll be executed correctly.
I'm telling you, as far as your not using mojos, using mojos, you stick them on the spread, you got a dozen of them, 2 dozen.
We had a dozen.
That would just.
It was unbelievable.
That's a little bit of
running 10
movement
dozen
here, and that takes out.
It always just takes a while for technology to catch up. If the idea's out there, it'll hit.
But you know what I mean? That was a hell of an idea. And I'd run them again. I'd run them every day. I think them are a smart move of that flick that you see from a distance. That was,
yeah, you watch a natural
one of the
duck
best
spread. I mean, one will just
tools
flap
I've
one wing, one will flap both wings, stand up stretch. I mean, they're unbelievable just to watch. And you'll learn a lot just by sitting there and watching the roots.
The best way you want to learn how to kill a duck is go watch.
Well, you could probably look up
And
YouTube
listen.
videos of just like drone videos of ducks
I mean,
and just
you
see
could-
how they're acting.
But your best thing, go to your local refuge or your local area, listen to how ducks call to other ducks, watch how they whip around in the water. I mean, it's right in front of you.
Yes, same thing you want to do with the jerk cord. You can run a jerk cord when it's blowing 20. It might help. Like, it'll help you. I wouldn't say it won't.
I'd rather have the ball at 20 though.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to run the jerk cord.
No.
Nobody wants to be the one
No,
to do
the
it.
dog gets tangled in it and all that. But there's so much more into just like going out there and, showing that guy his first time. Like, it would be so great to have that one-on-one experience and show somebody, hey, we're gonna set our decoys this way. This is
mentor
why.
them. Yeah.
But then you got somebody that's like, I got this buddy, and I got another guy that's got this buddy, and then
Everyone does.
it's
different.
late and it's mid-season, so you're like,
And
just sit down.
everyone
shut
could
up
be
and enjoy
right.
the show.
Yeah, everyone could be right.
right in their own way. Everybody's thankful in their own way. It's all
Depending on area. Yeah.
It all comes from what you're doing, where you're going about it. I mean, I'm not one to say anybody's right and wrong. That's why it's fun. That's why the industry is so wide and so big. Is everybody's getting into it. I mean, let's look around. Go to any kind of event. You take a guy for his first time, he's almost addicted.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
And it's hardly ever a bad hunt, which is
Every-
great. And that's
every
what you
time
want.
the new
He's
duck
almost
hunter
addicted
goes.
right off the bat. Next thing you know, he's buying wares.
Every time a new duck hunter goes,
you
ask him.
it escalates. It definitely escalates. It's one of them deals of he's going to live and learn his way.
Right.
I lived and learned my way. We can all communicate,
Yeah,
and hopefully we learn from it, each and everybody.
Every
And-
time a new duck hunter starts, you ask them how much money they spent over the weekend.
It's not cheap. Especially not as cheap as it used to be. We were talking today in the blind. We're like, you remember when you'd buy a case of expert shells and a dozen hot buys came with them? I was like, think of us now. We'd all bought it. We'd have a whole fucking spread out here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
A case of shells for $75, $80.
And you got a free case of decoys.
Yeah.
12 of them, not 6, 12. It was back in the glory days. Now everything's so hot.
Yeah, you're looking at 300 just in decoys, another 50 in rigs
Right.
for 1 dozen. Like, who wants to go start that sport?
You better just mold your own, melt your lead down in the pot.
Go buy the old flambos, paint them black, put 4 dozen in the kill hole, and call it good. Mow
Yeah.
lawns for the summer to pay for it.
I think everyone starts with
It all starts rough. That's the thing. It's a journey. It's not a day one. You're just an expert and you go out. No, you learn and you live and learn. And the best thing about the whole community is you learn from everybody you hunt with. Every single person, every single scenario, every hunt's different. They act different every time. And if you just keep that in your book of tricks,
I mean, look what this trip brought together. I would never met you if it wasn't for duck hunting.
yep, you're going to meet a lot of people along the road.
And
Yeah.
that's the best part.
Sounds like we're gonna meet a lot of people up there.
That's what I'm hopeful
It's
for.
just going to keep going and going. And you just hope for the best. You know what I mean? It's all for fun anyway.
And
This is a hobby. This isn't, we have to, some people it is their livelihood, but in reality it started out as a hobby.
Yeah.
It was always for fun. If you keep it fun, it's always going to be.
Right.
And I've met guys from, coast to coast almost now that it's one thing like, oh, you duck hunt? Tell me, like, you start telling those stories about here they come and,
Yeah.
they've been working this way and we all have that one thing in common. And like, if that's what you can keep in mind and be like, hey man, you got ducks up there in September, October. We can shoot a deer then. You guys can come down. Like, let's switch. Come down, shoot ducks in December out of a timber hole, something that these guys hunting out of a wheat field or a milo field have never seen. Like, the ducks behave so much different, and that's what they don't understand. They're like, why don't you guys just blaze them in a dry field every day? Dude, they won't look at one until it's cold, and I mean cold. Not
It's so locked up. It ain't lying.
yeah. But that's what brings the waterfowl community together. Is I think just sit around and tell those stories and learn about them. And how ducks behave. Like, learning how they behave through flyways just over where you live. Like, there's ducks that fly through there.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how they split the mountain ranges and
out in Colorado. I'm up in the mountains actually, so I don't get a ton of migration now. But the Front Range, as far as I understand it, is pretty insane.
yeah, I'm going out there in January.
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably, don't quote me on this, could be considered the goose capital of the lower 48 at the moment.
Probably.
yeah, they said heated pit, and I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
In Colorado, heated pit January, why would?
And then, I think they're pretty loaded with
Take the
mallards
check
as well.
already.
Yeah, let's go.
But I don't know what it is about the Front Range area. I guess it would be just that mountain block, that mountain wall.
It's got to be
Just
the mountain
stops them.
block, but also the spread of planting corn. Guys are growing
They got
corn
everything.
all the way out there.
Yeah.
Versus the small greens, corn's just such a big provider.
Yeah.
And
It's just like what we're about to go to.
yeah,
We ain't going to just corn. These
No.
ducks aren't going to just land at corn. They're going to land at whatever they've been landing in.
that's like back
the whole
up.
time.
We got corn and beans, but
But
how often do you ever see a duck land in beans unless it's
Never.
snow? Like, it'll be a goose and it'll be a heavy snowstorm. He doesn't know what the hell's going on.
It's, your regions are different. Your regions are definitely different everywhere you go. And I don't know. We're about to see a show, I think, for sure. Or as our trip goes. I'm super excited. I haven't traveled around much. I'm pretty home grounded. I went to Nebraska and Iowa, a few things, but as far as this Canada goes, I don't know. We're gonna learn some things.
Oh,
I think it's safe to say Canada's on every waterfowler's list. at
I
some
think
point.
this is as much as we're definitely gonna see it all.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm nervous about my flight. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What's that?
Surely my gun gets there. If it doesn't get there, I'm gonna shoot Mitch's gun.
I've never flown with
It's
it.
brand new. I watched him pour a whole bottle of oil in it today, so it's gonna be smoking. Yeah, tomorrow.
I've never flown with a weapon either, so.
hey, by this time tomorrow, I'm stuck to something. Hopefully.
Yeah. Are we hunting tomorrow afternoon
It's-
already?
Mitch is in charge.
Mitch, what do you have to say?
Mitch, you had to draw up your perfect weather day. What are you saying?
East wind, so I can sleep in.
Why are you sleeping in on an east wind?
I'm taking people killing ducks for 20 days in a row.
Mitch said the east wind because he don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah. You won't wake up.
He only wakes up 30 hours.
He's also had a boat blind for 3 years. He doesn't like to take it out. We could be sitting in
Don't
the
like take it out because it's too nice.
We could be
The
sitting out in
harder
the
it
warm.
is, the better the ducks are.
Yeah,
My opinion.
it's the chase, like equals reward kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like if I have to sit there and throw my rotator cuff out while starting this boat,
Yeah.
while keeping it together in front of my friend,
Beating it with the flashlight, trying to start it.
like, would you hold this light right here? Like, it just makes it that much better of a hunt. Because then when we do somehow end up out in the marsh, like, they're worried how we're getting home.
Yeah.
When, your boat captain asks you, are you ready? Are you ready? And you go, oh, yeah. No, like, are you ready? I don't think I'll make it. I love that. We go over white caps on a little John boat. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. And the fact of I don't know if I'm going to make it home. That's Pete's captainship, is what that is. That has nothing to do with the ducks flying at all. They're not
That
going to
was the
fly.
worst life choice we ever had. Was on an afternoon on the water.
With a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah,
Well-
the waves were like lapping into the side.
Like
of the
40
boat.
mile an hour wind kind of takes away from almost any hunt.
But
I was
you
young.
know they were gonna
I
fly.
didn't know
it
any
was
better.
it was blue skies. The
We
wind was
did kill
blowing.
'em.
40 miles an hour though.
But we're out in the middle of the lake, and after we struggled with the boat motor, we get out in the middle of
The
the
middle
lake.
of a lake at 40 miles an hour.
Oh, it was rough.
It
In a
was like
14-foot John boat. And these guys are like the
Oh
only
my
spot they
God.
had to sit was laying on top of the decoys because we needed 10 dozen. for
I
that
mean,
day.
you're talking at least 4-foot rollers at that
It
point,
was
right?
brutal. I mean, dude, they were getting lapped with water, and the motor dies halfway across
Oh.
this lake. They're looking at me for support, taking on this thing, and I'm like, I don't know
I
what
don't
to tell
know.
you.
This is this guy's first time.
I'd never drove the boat before. Running in shallow water, we always put the plug on the inside. And so I'm sitting in the back of the boat, just yanking, trying to get started. And I look down and I'm knee deep in water.
Oh,
I'm like, this isn't good, guys. Because I'd kick the plug out trying to pull start this boat. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, hopefully we get to shore pretty quick because this boat's not moving. Because one, I can't start the motor, and two, we're almost knee deep in water.
we're not picking it
And they're
up.
laying on top of decoys, like
Yeah.
looking at me for some hope. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
So
We ended up dragging it up on shore that day.
We ended
We
up killing some ducks.
flipped the boat over, dragged the decoys over to another bank, hunted, and then went back over and somehow got the motor fired up and motored back out.
and water updated plug back in.
Yeah, we took the motor off the boat, like full 9 yards. And like that was one of our first couple hunts just because we had nothing better to do. Like, hey, let's just go try. And that's that trial and error. I was like,
Yeah.
big error. Big error. And after that, we're like, next time we want to try it, like, we're just going to head to the Missouri River. Like, that'll be.
You'll live and learn, and you'll go, "Yep, I won't ever do that again. I've done it." You'll hear the guys that haven't done it, and you'll be like, "I'm done."
What? We had nothing better to do.
Right.
People ask you to go, and you'll be like, "Oh, I'm out.
Like, what
I'm
do you
done
mean?
that. I don't want
That's
to
the
do
way
it."
I grew up hunting ducks. It was just like you almost didn't pay attention to whether if you could go, you go. If you had a friend to go with, you go with your friend.
Yeah,
Just
Take the private spot. That's what we learned. Take the rig to the back of the blind and
that's the best way to hunt them. That's the dream to hunt them. Have a spot that you can at least see some ducks every day. Drive your side by side right up to the back, and we
Yeah.
unload our stuff, and we go park. We hang out. And I don't care if we cook 3 meals the whole day.
Yeah, that's the question
I
I
had
got
a
for you
great time.
two. Would you rather, wake up at 4:00 in the morning and go draw into that public land,
Nope.
perfect cornhole, where you're going to bang them up in under an hour, or would you rather show up 10 minutes before shooting light at your private blind with your buddies, and you're going to sit till 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, cook 2 meals, sit back, bullshit, and tell these stories? I'm going to take them stories every day
Yep.
because
I would sit in that
those are the
blind.
days I live for, man.
Sit in that blind. I'd have pride in that blind. I'd be like, "You remember that day?" It might be.
We did it right here 2 years ago to the day.
yeah, but if you're saying like your stories are, you remember that day.
No, I remember them.
A done in
crazy
1
days.
hour cornfield public hunt that you draw would be one of those you remember that day. So
No, I remember them, but
that's
it's one of them. I guess it comes with age.
But also,
I think I'd want to sit in them things, and I'd look at the young pups that came and be like,
you guys should go earn it.
"Yeah, I remember doing the dumb shit that I did."
yeah.
Go, yeah.
You go
think
do
you're
it.
Working duck, like, are you working a duck, or are you being where that duck wanted to be,
Right.
or are you hunting
It's
this hole
trial and
and
error.
you're putting that duck in here because he thinks it's a natural place to be? And that's what I like. What I've learned is I'd rather take that natural hole, working a duck, especially after seeing the flood water and working ducks through the trees. I'll take that every day.
Yeah,
I think there's advantages to both. I don't know if I could pick one. If I had to say it, I have one for the rest of my life.
I think a lot of public land hunting, like in our region anyway, is singles. You're at that
shoot
duck
your
club at wherever you're at. you might shoot it to a bunch of 40. You might only still kill 2. But, we worked that bunch, 4 passes, and we got them in here to where a lot of that public land hunting, here's a pair right here.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Pair, single, pair, single, pair, single.
You'll work them big bunches. And that might be the only big bunch you work. It might be the only ducks you might see. But in reality, you worked them the whole way. And everybody's different on working ducks. The screaming, the soft, that's the unique thing about it. It's even like the cut downs in our region. We didn't have cut downs 10 years ago. I had one of the first ones you'd seen.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
It sounds like shit. You know what I mean? You're like, that sounds horrible. I'm like, go stand on that other side of the levee.
Yeah.
And, that's became a thing. And, I'll take the 10 passes and we finish them. And God forbid we kill 12. And it's just, you'll remember that bunch. The whole year you'll be like, they come in here, we sawed them up. And you're with your buddies. That's the whole key about this whole thing. And I don't care what you do. You're with your buddies. You're doing what you want to do. I tell you what, there's not many things that I want to do that I'm going to wake up at 4 in the morning on my day off to do.
Right.
But for some reason, I will wake up to go duck hunt and I'll wake up to go goose hunt. No, I won't wake up to go deer hunt. Let's be honest about it. Them deer are lame.
Only on the afternoons.
Yeah.
I'm an afternoon deer hunter. But when it comes to it, I'm up. I'm ready. I'm going because I don't want to miss out on it. And you'll remember those memories forever.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is. You get your buddies that you're hunting with all the time. I mean, we were thinking the other day, heck, it's been 10 years since we started pretty much hunting hard. Yeah. And they'll bring up a memory and I'll be like, that's 10 years ago. Like, no,
10 years since you hunted together?
No, I mean, just like.
Damn near. Well, I guess you guys would be 14. Yeah, we're 8 years.
But you know what I mean? It's just like that was damn near 10 years ago. And everybody's like, no, it was. And you got to keep them traditions going. You got to keep going. You got to keep. And that's the thing of, I think it's a male thing. This is one thing that we can all hang out and do for the rest of our lives. I think we can all hunt for the rest of our lives. You can invite your buddies. That's one thing that nobody's ever going to complain about. Maybe your wife, occasionally. But you can always go. You can always call them boys up, whoever.
It's definitely something where, like,
it's just a different type of guy. Because, I mean, there's guys that I won't talk to. And, like, we won't communicate for that, 8 months of the year.
Yeah.
Because, I'll snow goose hunt with some of them. And
duck season hits.
And then, it's mid-October, late October, I'm calling them up. Yep. They're calling me up, and I'm like, it's time.
Talk every day for the next 4 months.
Here we go. Like, where are we going?
It's a culture.
What are we doing? And, I'm even looking at that stuff before that time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how many times are we talking about either going down and we're going to plant food plots? Are we going to, brush blinds? Are we going to clear timber? Like, what are we going to make for this year? What are we going to fix? What are we going to change? How did we learn from the year before? And that's the thing that I'd rather do now is try to get on a property, develop it, change it to where we need it to be to duck hunt.
Yeah.
And whether we move on or stay there, so be it. But let's make it productive. And what I've learned is when you move from that change of just, here's a pile of green to learning hey, here's how we change this place. Here's how we work to kill these birds.
Yeah.
That's the success.
So you guys were talking a little bit about this before we started. Unlimited money. Money does not matter. You can do whatever you want to start your duck haven. What do you do? Where are you starting? Are you starting with a spot right in the middle of the flyway? Probably. Are you making it?
I'm going to make one near a refuge. I'll be within 3 miles of a refuge, a major refuge. So how this goes, and most major duck clubs will know, them ducks fly out lines daily. They're like roads. You can get on a main line And I don't care if they're dry feeding, they're not feeding, they're doing whatever. You can get on one of the main lines. And if I had unlimited money, I'd have a big flooded cornfield, and I'd have 2 timber holes on each side of it. And depending on the wind, I'd hunt each one of them. And I'd hunt them with a lot of decoy movement, with like your quick coys, Mallard machines, stuff like that. On days that got rough, when it got slow, I'd shoot them out of the corn. I would never hunt after 1 o'clock out of the corn. And I'd try to roost my own ducks in Michael.
So
I think
ideally,
the
they
season
roost
would-
in the corn and come to the timber.
Yep, until it freezes. On
Yeah.
a hard freeze, they're going to go back to that refuge, which you're only a few miles away anyway,
Right.
so you're still in line. I think that's the best way to make your whole 60 worth your time.
What are you doing when it freezes?
When it locks up tight, they're going to be on that probably that major refuge. It's like mine, like locally, it ends up being a lake. They'll stay on the actual conservation refuge, then they'll move to a lake, and they'll keep it open with the deeper water, and then they'll go to the river, which is all still in a 3 to 4 mile range. So if I'm within 2 miles of all this,
I see.
I'm still in, and I'm running, 2 ice heaters, whatever I got. I'm running icer, I'm keeping open water.
Are you hunting the timber hole with an ice heater?
I'm going to hunt the timber hole with the ice heater for majority of it.
Yeah.
If I had unlimited money, though, I'm
all of it.
I'm going to keep my majority of my corn open.
Yeah.
If I had 3 ice heaters running the corn, I'm going to keep that, and then they'll naturally keep it open a lot wider than my ice heaters will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, in reality, I'm going to hold ducks the whole season,
Yeah, you would.
and I'm going to shoot them all 60.
Yeah.
I might not just beat them up, but I will see ducks and I will shoot ducks. I might not shoot, full limit every day, but on them days it's really good and it's thawed out, yeah, I'm gonna kill them. But I think the key of that whole thing is being near ducks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't be 10 miles downriver.
They're flying either way. They're not going to stop at
Them
you. If they're not
coldest
flying
days,
through.
even on them coldest days where they go feed and they come right back as quick as they can go. I mean, I'm in that line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna pull something.
I'm in that
You're there for
close
migration.
enough range.
You're there for migration and feeding.
But you got to be able to call a duck. You got to be able to talk to ducks.
But my new thing on ducks is I think the water movement kills more ducks than anything. I don't think you could even see the ducks, and you got a bunch of water movement going on, a lot of splashing and stuff. I think they'll commit more than even calling. And I mean, as you guys know, I'm in a group that loves the call. I mean, we got some good callers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you'll get away with a lot of killing ducks just off your decoys.
So really, by the sounds of it, you don't need more than 40 acres, 60 acres.
No, I don't think it's a lot of acreage to do with it. I think it's all location.
Yeah.
Big bends in the river near refuges and stuff like that, they'll cross-cut that. When it gets super cold, them ducks aren't going to stay on the refuge. They're going to go to the river because the current's going to keep the water open until they eventually move out. And that's their migration line anyway. That's their highway. So, I mean, if you're near the river, near the refuge, you're in that.
You're
I don't
killing
think you got
ducks.
a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to have it. There's not many places.
Unless the migration changes, you're killing and seeing ducks
You're at
almost
least
every
seeing
day.
them.
Yeah.
My thought process is I don't think you're going to kill them all 60.
I don't know
But
if
you
you
can
can
give 'em a
kill them all 60 in any one
But you're
spot.
You're going to give them
You
a try.
can't hunt them day after day and successfully
But
bang them up.
you see what I mean? You're
But
at
you
least
might
in the
shoot
area.
Something you might see a duck.
How good's your chances?
So, and that's what I think about a textbook club. You won't hunt the exact same blind every single day.
Yeah.
You got to switch them out.
Yeah.
If you have that textbook 160, you have 6 blinds.
You leaving
you
decoys
have a
on?
refuge. No, I'm not leaving decoys.
You picking them up every day?
I'm going to pick them up every day because I think that you could change that in a little bit each day. That'll look more natural to that day's weather. I'm not saying if you have the same weather for 3 days, don't leave them out. You could do that. You could probably get away with that. But I'm all 60? Absolutely not. You can't throw the first.
Well, it's not like you're hunting with that many decoys. It's not that terrible to
You drive up and down the bottoms right now. There's guys out with 20, 30 ducks.
Maybe more.
Yeah, up and down that are going to sit there till January. Like it's.
Do you think that hurts them?
I think they see it every day when they get stale.
Yeah.
But only the times when they stay a long time. I think when you get new ducks, no,
It doesn't matter.
Hurt a thing. But the ducks that have flown day in, day out, I think they see them.
But stale ducks are stale ducks.
I mean, I think you can look at. I mean, the key example, and especially my area, Habitat Flats. You'll see videos of them picking up decoys as they're taking pictures with the clients.
Yeah.
I mean, they're picking that stuff up day in, day out, and they're.
Because after 1 o'clock, let them
sit here. We might bump them in the morning, but they don't know what bumped them. It's like a deer in the night.
What do you think a duck does when it's bumped in the dark?
I think he flies to the next nearest duck.
Shiny water, like refuge.
Or the nearest duck that quacks at him.
So they're looking for somewhere to land right away.
Yeah,
they can't see
a duck 15 minutes before shooting line.
Yeah.
They're going to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't see. They're not nocturnal. I mean, they are, but they're not night vision nocturnal. You know what I mean? I if I had unlimited money, that's kind of set up my build.
So how do you judge pressure? Like, if you've got a big push of birds, say a field hunt, how do you know when to pull the trigger and hunt them? You've scouted the field. You know they're gonna.
So I'd like, especially geese. Let's say 3 days, you're good. They hit that same field 3 days in a row, you better get them. If you didn't get them on that third day, you better get them the fourth.
Otherwise, they're going to switch.
Yep, they will switch.
And it's back to weather pattern, I think, on a wind.
Well, if you get 3 days in a row, it's all the same.
Why wouldn't you hunt the third day?
Exactly.
Or the second day?
Well, I'd hunt them the first night after if it's going to be the same weather. I'd take that chance. I'd hunt them right then the next day, especially field hunt, especially geese.
So it's kind
of hit a field tonight, and the weather is the exact same tomorrow night, and they showed up in shooting time. I'm hunting them the next day.
You don't leave ducks or geese to find ducks or geese. If they're in a spot,
many times. If they came yesterday, I'll take that risk, and there's going to be days you don't see a bird.
Yeah,
they change. It wasn't right.
That's just feed hunting, though.
But I mean,
so you smack
9 times out of 10, they're showing up the same time they did the day before.
So you smack them in a field after scouting it. What are you doing the next night?
I'm out.
You're out.
Scouting.
I'm out. Then if they hit it again,
even if it was just a pile of birds and there was double left.
I hope I'm out and I'm sitting at the truck watching them still dumping there.
Okay. So, but you're not hunting the next night?
Nope, not the next night. Now I might wait 2 days, and if the weather's right and they're still in there, yeah, I'll hit them one more time.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to just sit there and hit them, because what you'll end up doing is you'll push them birds out of your area.
Okay.
Especially like on water, like when you're goose hunting stuff like loafs. I've hunted some loafs, goose hunting wise, where you get them 6 or 7 times because the weather's warm. We didn't hunt them all in 1 week. We hunted them once a week. Killed the first 12 that came in, or however many guys we had, and we're done. And sitting at the truck watching them still light in there like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Left the blind or whatever. And I think you can do that, but I wouldn't sit on them every day. But I think it's all weather. Yeah. I think you can tell everything on weather. If the next 3 days are the exact same, you can guarantee at 4 o'clock you're going to see a bunch of geese or a bunch of ducks. 4 o'clock was the time, and that was it. So I'd go more off of that than off of anything. Now, if it's late, you only got 10 days left, eat on them as long as you can. Call it good. You know, when it's done, it's done.
They got a whole nother year to try to remember that field.
They probably won't. So.
Right. You kind of got the same philosophy on that?
Yeah, I would 100% agree.
I think your lines stay good for about 5 years of time.
But when that back push happens, all hell breaks loose.
Well, them back push, that's not long anyway. They don't even. Nothing mattered that mattered before.
On the back push?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your best time to, especially Canadians. I mean, I'm telling you. You'll see more geese on that 40-degree day after you've had nothing but cold than you will whole season. I've seen them in my hometown. We got a turf football field in town. Be 2,000 sitting on the turf.
Oh my god!
That's the only green thing out there.
They don't know where that. You know what I mean?
How long will it? That's
they'll
just.
hit it. And once
What are they hitting?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. They just see other geese in there and they'll go. And I'm telling you, I've shot limits and drove through town, and town's just used.
That's basically the refuge at that point.
Well, they're ignorant. I mean, they're just coming back through. They're just trying to sit down.
Yeah.
And it's warm, and they're eating grass, and they're doing goose things. I mean, let's look at it. Geese will stand in a parking lot.
Yeah.
We could go to Cabela's right now. There'd probably be 40 geese standing.
Every college campus.
You know what I mean? It just they go back to that, to where they were sitting on a big lake and they were only feeding the cornfields and they were doing this. It goes to 50 all of a sudden after being 20 for a long time. Remember your days that you're just gonna eat them.
Get on smoke and water, throw a little green grass.
Anything. I'm telling you, cattle pasture out. If you're in an area where some geese usually fly in, you will kill your geese. That's why I like goose hunting. I mean, they're manipulative to where ducks are.
Ducks already have their minds made up.
You can work a group of ducks that are bowed up from past 1 to 12 and fly off. And you go, what the heck? And you can see a bunch of geese as high as you want, and they bow their wings. It's over. You know what I mean? And there's times they go on, but the majority of the time, if everything's right, they're gonna do it.
I would say that's my experience as well. Is that you have almost every group of Canadas you see at least works you.
Yep.
I would say almost everyone finishes. Versus ducks, it's like, can we get them to finish?
Yep.
Or even work.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I think we are well into this one. Probably going to end it. We head to Canada tomorrow morning. Flight's at 5:30.
A few hours away.
Hopefully we can get into them.
That's just around the corner. I hope
So, yeah.
Well rested.
Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time. Also, if you're wondering why Mitch didn't talk, it's because he fell asleep like 20 minutes into the episode. Thank you for listening. You can find us on any social media platform, podcast platform, and YouTube. Hunt Vision or Hunt Vision Code. That's Hunt Vision Code. Bye.